Hello CAD team. Here is the video on the next project and instructions for what you're going to need for the project. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird, but I've been sick for the past couple days, so bear with me. Alright, so this project is going to be kind of a review-based project, but there's still a couple of new things you're going to need to learn. First of which is a straight slot. So for a straight slot, you're just going to go into a sketch, click the straight slot. You have to set 2 points, which are at the centers of the semicircles at the end of a slot, and then you need to set the width of your slot. So if we just click a point, that's the center of our first semicircle, go across, it'll naturally find 180 degrees, which is parallel to the long lines of this block. Click the second center of the semicircle, and then make the edges. So here we have a straight slot. Then we just need to define it. If you go to Smart Dimension, you can set the distance you want the first center of the semicircle, the center of the second. You can alternatively set the distance between the two. It does the same thing. Then you need to set the width of your slot and the height of your entire slot. I'm just using easy dimensions to make things simple. From there, you can just use any of your features. You can extrude boss base to make it come out of the block, or you can use extruded cut to cut into or through the block. So I'm just going to do that. And now we have a block with a slot in it. So now you can use that in whatever you're making, such as this project maybe. Alright. The second thing you're going to need to know is distance mates. So we are just going to save this. Then if we make a new assembly, we can insert our new part. If you remember from the last video or the Skype call, if you hold Control, then click a part and drag it, you can make a copy of it. So a distance mate is similar to a coincident mate, kind of, in that it takes two faces that are parallel to each other, and does something with them. So all you need to do is click a face, hold Control, click a face that is parallel to it, or a face that you want to make parallel to it, and then you're going to go to this option, which is the distance mate. So you just click that. It gives you the option to type in whatever distance you want between them. We'll just go with 1 inch, press enter, and then press check, and they're now 1 inch apart. So as you can see, they can still slide in this direction and in this direction, but they're fixed at 1 inch apart. If we want to define this, we can just do this, and that's a distance mate. So another thing I'm going to show you, it'll probably be useful for the project, but it's just one of the most useful and convenient things whenever you're doing an assembly. It's flipping a mate alignment. So basically, all this does is it flips the way two things are mated together. Usually use this with a coincident mate if they are lined up the wrong way and go against each other. So say instead of wanting these two to be lined up perfectly, I wanted this one flipped over so it was pointing up. All I have to do is go to this coincident mate, right click it, and click flip mate alignment. So if you can see what that did, it took the way they were mated together and it just flipped it over. And also it flips the entire piece. So since I had this face and this face mated together when they were next to each other, since it flipped the entire thing over, they're now offset. So that's super useful, and those are all the things that you'll need to know for this project, since it's just a review project, not much new. But I think the best way for you guys to understand what this project is just for me to show you my completed version, because it's kind of weird to explain. So here it is. Basically, it's just a linear slide with some different aspects to it. So you can see this outer section slides along the inner section. So all it is a few different parts. On the inside, you have two semicircles. You can either make them using an arc like we did last week, or by taking a circle and cutting it in half. So this is a 1-inch diameter circle, and it is 10 inches long. And then along through it, you have 3 different support poles, basically, which are each 1/2 inch in diameter and 3.5 inches long, which set into these semicircles a 1/4 inch on each side. These 2 pieces are also distance mated at 3 inches. I would prefer that when you do your projects, you use a distance mate instead of just setting a coincident mate on each side with your measured posts, just so that you learn how to do a distance mate. The other part of it is this. Basically, it's 2 different parts, each of them copied once. So on the top, you have this. It is, I believe, 2 inches. Yeah. 2 inches by 5 inches, I believe. Yeah, 2 inches by 5 inches with a 1-inch thickness, and I believe it would be 3 inches between the centers of these semicircles, so that when it slides over these semicircles, which are 3 inches apart, it goes perfectly up against them. So that's this piece. It's also a 1/2 inch thick, I believe. Yeah, 1/2 inch thick. Then the last piece are these outer sliders. They are also 2 inches thick, 1 inch thick this way, and then they have the same 1-inch diameter hole or semicircle cut out through them so that they slide over these. So those are all the parts you'll need to make. In case you're curious how it goes together, it's mostly coincident mates except for this distance mate, a few concentric mates here, and this semicircle with this semicircle, you'll actually use a concentric mate, because that also works for semicircles, and that allows it to slide up against each other. So I believe that's all the information you need. If there are any questions about this project or measurements or how stuff goes together, ask either me or your teammates, maybe Jonathan or Jacob, because they might know the answers to your questions as well. Since this is a bit more in-depth, so that you have plenty of opportunities to review the different things that I've showed you, I'm going to give you 2 weeks on this project. So it will be due 2 weeks from today, which is a Tuesday. So before I end this video, I want to show you guys how to do a pack and go rather than just explaining it as I did in the email. Basically, this is how you should save assemblies to send, because if you just send the assembly, whoever receives it won't have the parts, so they won't actually be able to load the assembly. It will just show up as having a bunch of missing components. So I'm sorry for forgetting. You guys need to know that last time. So all you have to do, click File in the upper left hand corner. Right here is Pack and Go. You just click that. Click Save to Zip File. Click Browse. Go wherever you want it. Name it. Save. And then you'll just click Save right here. And it'll save it to wherever you told it to. From there, you can just attach it to an email or post on the Google Drive from wherever you saved it to. So that's it for this video. You guys should know everything you need to. So good luck. Have fun.